sound of jewelry and clothing combining, jewelry and clothing becoming one another, being made together, but making parts of different items and materials to develop certain costumes and certain personalities through clothing to exemplify certain characteristic traits and develop certain characters for the global forest, the global philanthropy energy, global philanthropy, global connected philanthropy energy, global grid. Welcome to the news. So what we are trying to focus on in essence is becoming like a node in the global ecosystem in essence, and being able to focus upon how to develop this mindset as a node, and at the same time to be able to become sort of an asset to the forest, the global forest, that has to do with transitioning dreams into becoming an animal, and at the same time becoming an animal, at the same time becoming a sport as an animal, at the same time that energy is like a sport and an animal at the same time, and it can be played by other people and mimicked by other people, so that animal is popular in terms of its character style, its stature, its movements, its motions, its energy, and such things. And that, in essence, is like indicative of a logo. That logo is like the leader of that specific given energy. And this is meant to try to develop the mindset for a global philanthropy energy, global giving grid for the whole entire world, as opposed to a monetary energy global grid, which is the current day's type of business, style of business, of doing business in the current day and age way of doing business. It's all about monetary energy in today's day and age, whereas when things are transitioned into philanthropy energy, it changes the whole nature of the whole entire game. It changes the mathematics, it changes the science, it changes the paradigms of the way that life is run, in essence, more or less based upon the concept that there is not a mathematical equation for spiritual finance times witchcraft. Spiritual finance times witchcraft is the result of the pursuit of philanthropy energy, in essence. So philanthropy energy is, in essence, like everybody in the world having their dreams, in essence, like that correspond to having unlimited resources and unlimited money to develop dreams, and the ability to develop a dream business based on the ability to have unlimited resources and unlimited money, for example. And with that concept in mind, with that conceptual metaphor, or with that conceptual hypothesis in mind, it develops a direct line into a philanthropy energy mindset, because in essence, that just develops the realization of that business becoming reality based upon that question, and upon that realization, upon that reality, that realizing of that reality, it becomes real because of realizing and realization of that reality. And then therefore, based upon that reality, we're needing to become an animal, a sport, and a movement, a doing process, an action to be able to reach the other side of that goal, those goals of that actual conceptual potential, which includes all people in the world. Because obviously if there's unlimited money and unlimited potential and unlimited resources, then ultimately it would include everybody in the world, because that person would feel obligated and a responsibility to do good and do the best that they can for everybody in the world, to be able to try to facilitate and develop the best process that is possible. And so with this in mind, also, like, it comes down to the ability to make a solution that is not based upon money. And for example, like becoming an animal and having an animal mindset develops a character that is similar to a mascot and a logo for that given company and brand. And that company and brand cause is fueled by philanthropy, because in essence, when it's fueled by money is finite. Money has a finite energy. And certain people, they only have so much money in the world, even if they're the ultra rich necessarily. Or if they band together with a few companies, and a few companies make a conglomerate to be able to develop a certain flow of trying to pursue closing in on fulfilling a certain purpose or a certain cause, or pursuing a certain market opportunity, or market demand, for example, to try to fill that market demand with specific company collaboration, monetary energy. It's very difficult to do. Whereas when it's filled with monetary energy in a similar way that animals are in the forest, and animals don't use currency, animals don't use money, animals don't use monetary energy. They use animal communication. And in essence, when we transpose that back to being humans and human energy, we have one of the highest art forms, which in essence comes down to giving. Giving is one of the highest art forms. So that is one of the most pleasing acts and activities that humans are able to do, in essence. When they're able to give, then it causes an appreciation and a mindset that is very highly appreciated and highly regarded within all human beings once they act out the act of giving. And that also is something that isn't that commonly well advertised or spoken about or mentioned among society in this day and age. And ultimately it is something that needs to be studied, acknowledged, mimicked, and reiterated as that is the result for giving as an activity, as a means for in essence like currency in this instance, because that is what philanthropy energy all relates to and boils down to in essence. So for one to become a node in the forest, meaning the forest is the ecosystem that has to do with the world and all of the world connecting together in essence, like in the movie Avatar. That's the global philanthropy energy grid. So in essence, for someone to become a node, for people to become nodes more or less with the most philanthropy energy possible, the most impact possible as a company, as a group, or as an individual, in essence, but it starts with an individual. In many instances, everybody is an individual in the whole world, after all. And so when it comes down to that acknowledgement, to be able to just do the minimum for the self, to be able to live minimally to try to serve the self, and then be able to transition the remaining energy to the outside world, to the outside forest, to the outside ecosystem, in essence. That transposes them as a node, in essence, for philanthropy energy to be able to focus mostly on the outside world, mostly on trying to provide value for the outside world. And that's like focusing on philanthropy energy. That's focusing on causing philanthropy energy on the most consistent basis possible. And that also corresponds to and comes down to usually the answer to the question of what would somebody do? What would you do as a company or as an individual? What would you do if you had unlimited resources, unlimited money in the world to be able to develop the most philanthropic, the most impactful business possible in the whole entire world? And or what would you do with that money even if you didn't have to develop a business? For the most part, in most instances, in most cases, they're going to develop a business regardless, because they're going to develop a process, an action plan that revolves around a lot of people, very many people, because of having very many resources to be able to allot and attribute to many people, by not having constraints on those resources and having a feeling of responsibility and obligation to do things with those resources of unlimited money and unlimited resources, for example. And so with that transposition of mindset, it realizes those dreams. It realizes and makes those dreams real with that question, in essence. And so in the meantime, by fulfilling that conceptual philanthropy that is birthed, that is born from that question, the ability to acknowledge that philanthropy energy just from the birth that happens from that philanthropy energy mindset that is birthed when that question is asked. Then on the backside of that, it is apparent that not only is giving the way to get there by company building and brand building and reputation building, by giving, but also the actual result, the actual interest, the actual potential hope and interest for that person or that company or whoever is asked that question as an entity or as an energy, one way or another, that ultimately that response corresponds to giving anyways. It corresponds to having an abundance to be able to take care of oneself, and then therefore to then be giving. So those two things meet in the middle, in essence, because the mindset of becoming a node in the forest, in the global forest, in the global philanthropy energy grid, you're becoming a node which pings from one person, one individual, one source, one resource into the whole world. And that's what the global philanthropy energy grid is in essence all about, is trying to focus directly on philanthropy energy and side-skirting and going above and beyond monetary energy as a whole, because animals do not acknowledge, in essence, monetary energy. Animals, which is what we are, which is what our animal sports are all about, are these animal sports that are developed. It's like a sport where you have to hurdle over and go through obstacle courses in life, other outside elements that are needing to be dealt with, and it's a sport. It's like hurdling. It's like very many sports that are all combined, because you have to combine all the elements of life, and that's why one person's company is like a unique sport, because they have to chisel out their own pathway, and it's like they're developing a sport, because whatever obstacle courses they went through, it's a unique obstacle course. And therefore, it's a unique sport. And therefore, all people have the ability to also follow in the footsteps of that specific sport and play along with that sport and be able to coincide and vibe with that sport and that animal. That animal is like the logo, in essence, basically the character, the animal, the spirit, in essence. And at the same time, the sport is the activity that was played to be able to chisel out and etch out and make a process and a demand and a company, basically by developing, giving routines, giving processes, giving energies, in essence, regardless of monetary energy, regardless of having endless money or endless resources necessarily, regardless of whatever it is, in a finite sense or in an unlimited sense. It comes down to giving. It comes down to giving to the audience, giving to the audience, giving to the audience. And that, in essence, comes halfway and meets halfway in the middle. You have to give to be able to brand build, in essence, and you also want to give on the back end of having unlimited resources. So that is it's the same result, matching in the middle, meeting in the middle to be able to get to that end result. And so therefore, when we have this this common understanding, this commonality, this common mindset of having abundance, having endless resources to be able to provide for all people, so that we go beyond the self and we go beyond families, and we go beyond companies, also individual companies, that when we get into the world energies, and coalescing like the world energies, that we all become like one giant ocean, in essence, that we become the ocean, in essence. That's what the global philanthropy energy grid is all about representing, in terms of the representation of energies. It's like we're flowing together, all like, and I haven't actually seen Joseph and the Amazing Color Dreamcoat, but I'm just picturing Joseph in the Amazing Color Dreamcoat, all these energies in the world coalescing and combining and mashing into each other, just like the ocean, basically. And I'm just using Joseph in the Amazing Color Dreamcoat because it's a conceptual mindset of a dream coat coming together through all these fabrics and all these crazy energies of frequencies coming together, just like the ocean. But all these particles of 8 billion people, and 8 billion people as animals, 8 billion people as sports energies, and sports energy animals, all unique, that everybody gets to play in this global arcade of these sports animal energies that are able to be mimicked and followed upon, and follow their reputations, and follow the interests of what each individual spirit animal sport is all about. And this is the combination, this is the crosshatch of spiritual finance times witchcraft. This is in essence the essence of spiritual finance times witchcraft. In essence, it's leveraging the essence of the most powerful art in the world, which is giving in essence, which is also philanthropy energy. And so that's what the global philanthropy energy grid all relates to and all comes down to, and has the interest for, and has the main, and that is why it's the main interest to be able to develop the whole world to circulate around the global philanthropy energy grid, so that in essence we're able to change the nature of business, we're able to change the nature of love, we're able to change the nature of focus into the highest art in the world, which is giving. And it comes down to being animal communication, and having the radiation, in essence, not have anything to do with monetary energy, but sort of surpassing that and using animal communication, and that basically times having the ability to access money, having the ability to access technology, and having the ability to make these coalescing philanthropy energy frequencies, just like the ocean, just like the Joseph of the Amazing Colored Dreamcoat, where there are these beautiful collaborations among all the companies in the world, and that's what Change for Game Studios, the platform, is all about. That's what Dinky Tech and Change for Game Studios, the company, the brokerage, the platform, is all about, is trying to develop this specific wave of all of the world's energies, all of the world's companies, all of the world's audiences, which are all players of the games, of different business games in the world, every single day in this giant whirlpool of arcade energy, in essence, playing different sports animal energies, following the different logos of the different animals for every single business energy that's out there, and fulfilling the unfulfilled potential energy market as a world, as a whole, and having these continuous flowing ebbs and flows of giant philanthropy energy waves back and forth, so the whole world can benefit from positive philanthropy energy, developing processes and continuous, ongoing, perpetual unfolding of continuous philanthropy energy that is coming out from the woodwork, because the trajectory has been developed ever so, and trajectory has been developed ever so sequentially and strategically, just like Dinky Tech and Change for Game Studios is trying to be a vessel for. So we're trying to start the engine to be able to move in that direction, in essence. So everybody's vehicles, everybody's animal suits, and everybody's ability to be able to align in this way. So this new fashion that comes from Dinky Tech and Change for Game Studios as well. So combining like jewelry and fashion at the same time to be able to bring out the spiritual finance, the spiritual the spirit animals, the spiritual witchcraft, in essence, like combination correlations of all these energies in the world, all these metaphysical, metaphorical, and energies within the fabrics of life that are able to work together, to flow together, to be able to like surpass all the ingrained processes and in instances in society in the past where things have had their way to form, where we can unfold them and have everything revolve around giving and philanthropy energy, so that in essence, just like animals, we can combine that with technology so that we surpass the interest for monetary energy, and we go straight to the ability to make the forest, the global forest that is the global ecosystem, that is the global network of the financial web that connects all people, and have that directly become synthesized into the most valuable energy, which is philanthropy energy after all. Thanks again. Dinky Tech, Change for Games, and Dinky Tech, Change for Game Studios. Bye. Peace. Bye.